Again, a very warm welcome and thank you for taking the time to participate in this session. I'm really happy that it has your interest and look very much forward to sharing some insights. We have Nenad as well, and we'll present ourselves just in a bit. But I too look forward to really deep diving in today's subject. So, first of all, this is customer service management. It's ServiceNow. It's all about what can you gain from that module, and I think just as well, how can we provide some interesting takes on this via our value accelerators? But we'll dive way more into that. But just to set the scene for a bit. So, first of all, I'm Mikkel, and I'm the sales director here in Denmark. I have the pleasure of hosting you, Nanat. Why don't you put a few words on yourself?
Thank you, Mikkel. So now as Marianne, I work as a trusted advisor and I lead the customer experience community at the Cloud People. Worked with ServiceNow for 15 years now, so it's been a comprehensive journey. And today we'll focus mainly on the customer service management and how to kickstart your leap into a product and the journey that this product provides.
Sounds excellent, Nana. Thank you very much. So, today's subject, we're going to introduce customer service management and where to start. This is the agenda. I'm sure, it's pretty clear. And Nana, let's be honest here. I think it's almost it's mostly you that will do the talking. So I'll try to facilitate the communication. I'll just give you a brief introduction to the platform we're working with here that you're signed into. And I'll try to make that feasible for everybody. So Livestorm, which is the software you looked into, it has several functions. Below to the right, you have an overview of different functions. It's people. You can see who's logged in here. You can see the first names to keep it a bit anonymous. We have the polls. I will provide a poll during this session, and you can vote within that poll when it's coming up. You're very welcome to post questions as well. You can do that in the questions module. And of course, we can have the chat going as well. So please, this webinar is for you guys. So feel free to chime in. We'll do our very best to accommodate whatever questions or comments or what have we during the talk. I will monitor this. Usually we have a team running these webinars. Today of some reason unbeknownst, I'll have the honor of doing all the technical stuff as well. So bear with me on that. I'll do my very best buttons, but that means also I will monitor the chat. So please let us know if any thoughts or additional stuff is springing to mind. So first of all, maybe a few of you know the Cloud People, maybe some of you don't. I'll just take the opportunity to just briefly describe what is the Cloud People. So a quite large Scandinavian North European player is visible on the map here. We have the pleasure of having local consultants, local architect in combination with our excellent GCC team, which we call the guys from Poland in Lodz and Krakow. Also, I think it's a really nice pleasure to have the ability to bring in our subject matter experts on different modules and domains coming in from ServiceNow, such as yourself, Nenad, as a sales guy. That is really relevant to really set the best team and get the the full advantage of the expertise hidden in the different countries. And I think what really differentiates us here is we have the size to accommodate a multitude of projects and still also the size to be able to really ensure this collaboration cost conscious with our customers. So that is, I think, a really exciting space. We do ServiceNow mostly, and we do Google Cloud as well as products. So with that, and just to give you some numbers, plus 200 ServiceNow consultants currently, and running a lot of focus on getting certifications right, building the knowledge that's needed to really drive value across the different verticals on the ServiceNow platform, as well as ensuring that our employees are really sharp and ready to go on different domains. All right. So enough about us, I guess. Nenad, I will hand the baton to you, I guess. Let's dive into today's subject around customer service. So
Let's do.
yeah.
So let's start with explaining what really the customer service is or might be. There are, of course, as always, many definitions. So none of this is going to be any exam questions. So you can relax. But from the point of view of industry, the customer service management, which has been around for like ages. So since actually any kind of provider started to provide their products or services to the consumers or the customers, and these things started to broke or needed some kind of an additional explanation. That was the first step of going into a customer service. It's been around for since the industry, so really it has been involved into a concept of its own. So today we're going to talk about how ServiceNow actually sees things, how we at the cloud people see things, and how you can kickstart your journey into a beautiful concept of the customer service management. So to kick off, just a little statement of why the customer service is important, because if you are a provider of services, then you have your customers. They might be consumers, so the private individuals that actually consume something. They might be the businesses, so you actually provide business to business capabilities. But the customer service plays a very critical role in your daily operations. So it's really a means of providing sort of the value through assistance and a guidance of the company that really is provided through the entire life cycle. So it starts already before something consumes something, before someone orders a particular product or a service from you. So already there, it can become an interaction which then leads to sales, and it actually, in due time, results in a purchased product and the delivery of the service. And towards its end, it becomes so-called sort of the replacement, or maybe even sort of the ending of a particular contract engagement. It's very important to emphasize that the customer service is really sort of a backbone of every business, because with good customer service, you will gain the loyalty of your customers. With bad customer service, you will probably not primarily lose the customers, but you will have a turbulence in your customer relationships. So it is important that you invest in a good customer service, because that really results in sort of satisfied customers, and satisfied customers are the loyal ones. It's much more easier to keep the customers than to attract and really gain the new customers. So in terms of the actual state of how the customer service and how customer services are organized or implemented in different companies, we still have challenges in terms of that. Well, 2023 nowadays, we still struggle in some basic components of imposing a good customer interface to establish that sort of baseline of a customer service. So interfaces in quite many cases are still very simple. So companies expose email as a primary channel, or the phone. It's not transparent, it's not structured, and it really doesn't give a customer or consumer that real feel of good interaction between the provider and a customer or a consumer. At best, certain companies, they have websites, most of the companies do, and on those websites, you might find some kind of section which is a frequently asked question section, but it's not dynamic, it's not interactive, it's there, it's for you to try to search around and maybe find yourself a decent answer, or maybe not. It's often limited just to, okay, what are sort of our delivery terms and conditions, how fast we can deliver services, what we usually in a standardized way promise you as a consumer. But those interactions which occur in the front, they most often get lost in the void of the backend. So there's no transparency, customer don't know what is happening, which often occurs in customers getting that additional contact once or twice or 3 or 4 times just to ask a very simple question. What has happened? I mailed you a few weeks ago. I mailed you, or I claimed something a couple of months ago. I haven't heard from you. And this makes a burden on the organization to actually deal with those additional very simple inquiries and interactions even today in 2023. So where do we want to be, or where companies really want to be, is to have the ability to provide the more intelligent ways of serving the customer. Because again, the good customer service creates a customer loyalty. So again, it's really so much easier to keep the customer on board rather than attracting the new one once they are lost. And keeping customer costs less, because again, it requires a lot of effort to acquire, to attract, to really sign the new deals. And the good customer service is provided by really connecting your entire organization into one whole customer operations, which then serves a customer in order to sort of create that end-to-end value chain, which customer feels, experiences, and feels in a good place to purchase more, to expand the relationship, to really go into a partner relationship, especially in a business-to-business scenario. So that's really where companies are envision themselves as a really good provider of the services to a market and to an industry where they act. So usually in every single organization, we have all these different departments and units, business units, which act as part of the organization. And sometimes the organization believes, as long as we have a customer service unit, or as long as we have that service desk, we're safe, because we're going to have ability to serve the customer. And it's not only that particular unit that serves the customer, because the actual interaction journey is much more complex than that. Yes, the entry point might really be the customer service as a unit, or the service desk, where the customer calls in or emails in, and then we have the agent that perhaps have more or less intelligent systems to work with. But at a certain point in time, that case or that interaction really needs help from additional units in the organization to maybe manage an invoice question, to check whether the services that enable and that support that product which the customer have purchased, that they're up and running. And this really, in a disconnected, so in that sort of challenging space where all these departments or units or groups or teams act on its own in different silos, in disconnected systems, it becomes a burden. So from a customer service point of view and from the customer experience point of view, you really get into position that the customer doesn't have the visibility of what is happening. Customer agent don't have the visibility of what is happening due to the fact that they don't have access to systems. So they need to ask someone in the back office or in the IT, please, can you check? This customer is claiming that they have an issue, but I cannot see anything that might be wrong. And then start sending emails because they don't have a common systems or the common platform to interact with.
Maybe, and just
yes,
an observation from my side, I think, because I'm talking to different customers and of course potential customers as well. This is probably, in my view, this is probably where we can say this differentiates the customer service management very distinguished from a more classic customer relationship management system, right? What is CSM? What is CRM? I think the whole idea of enabling collaboration between functions and kind of facilitate that the process moves along smoothly, across the company is really a key value of thinking in terms of service management in the customer experience space. Does that make sense to you?
yeah, exactly. That is exactly what it is, because it really, in the ideal world, it connects. So the customer service is a concept, is a connected concept. It's not siloed concept, and this is really where still quite many organizations they struggle, because they haven't really understood that the customer operation isn't really run only by the customer service unit or only by the sales unit. If we talk about the CRM, it's really run by the entire organization as an end-to-end value creation for production of a particular product or for the provision of a particular service, which that customer, being a consumer or a business customer, which they have purchased, and by that really have a contractual obligation to deliver to these stakeholders. So that is entirely correct. And the big thing in this sort of ecosystem where organizations still lack is sort of the connection. So they haven't found really a good way of connecting different teams and really enabling them through a common platform or a common way of working that really runs on one platform that really serves the entire organization, and by that it serves really the end customer as well. And this is where ServiceNow really sort of closes that gap, because it is that one platform which can serve a lot of departments regardless of what they really work with. It enables really the connected ecosystem, and creating that or enabling that customer journey or the customer interaction journey throughout the organization. That interaction being, for example, just a simple case or the new order or the new request for a new service, or a issue resolution of something which has happened. And it really have the ability, the ServiceNow being that platform of platforms, and having the capabilities of modern platform. But what it really does really good, it drives the workflow and it delivers the transparency towards the customer. So the customer knows where my case is. The customer knows that if I go to a customer service portal, I know that I will find my content there based on all these different capabilities and means of delivering the relevant content to a customer. I don't need to spend a lot of time trying to drill between an irrelevant content for me on a web page, because I can find the focused content which is only for me. And in the best of places, ServiceNow will enable that proactive means of delivering the customer service or the customer operations. So when something goes wrong in the operations, in the IT, for example, IT can tell the front end that this has gone wrong, and really it can tell already to a customer, because we know based on the fact that your service has been impacted, so we can tell you, we have an issue with your service, you don't have to call us proactively.
Maybe
And this,
can I just add a thought here, and then that, because I think it's actually really relevant, this part. I just want to emphasize that um, I think we all know the challenge of collaboration, right? We have several functions that each has their own way of workings and where systems and way of doing things, basically. And of course, it's always worth striving for getting some sort of mutual context in a collaboration. What this really frees up and enable the interacting teams is to kind of define the processual interconnect between those teams, right? When we think in terms of how can we move a process around different teams, and I like your choice here around the functions, but this is of course generalized, so it could be any teams. I think that's clear. But it allows us to really define the process and the way that the process steps is handled between teams in a very clear manner. Not having that email back and forth that you are discussing internally as well. Because if we design this right, we get the process to interconnect very structured and very clear. Because then, when we have the defined set of input, we can also define an expected set of output from each functions, and that really enables a much tighter, in my view, a much tighter and efficient collaboration around that customer request or whatever it is, right?
yes, exactly. And the thing is that in terms of the processes or practices, functions, different departments or different units, business units within an organization, they can still work within their processes, but really they enable each other based on the fact that, for example, in a customer service or customer calls in, the process of customer sort of case is completely, it's similar to IT, but it's not an IT process. It's a bit different. It runs differently, but IT can still run their processes, enabling that sort of customer interaction to fulfill their means. So we talk about sort of that value creation all the time, regardless of if it's an back office invoicing financial process or if it's an IT process for a service which is really supporting and producing that service or a product which a customer has bought in the end. So this is sort of that greater good which the ServiceNow platform enables. So it connects all these different departments into one whole value chain of delivering the customer operations and delivering that good or the goods or the products to a customer based on their contractual obligations or contractual arrangements and agreements which they have with the provisioning organization, such as one that we're seeing on the picture. And then when it comes to a product itself, because most of you probably know ServiceNow has been around for now it's over 15 years. The CSM as a product, it's not as old, but it's been launched in 2016. And since then, as we all know, ServiceNow has a comprehensive list of capabilities which are added every single release that comes along. And we know that there are 2 releases per year and approximately 10 to 15 new features or capabilities which are delivered as a part of the product and the platform, which makes really this comprehensive list expanding even more with every single new release that comes along. So if you're new to customer service management in ServiceNow, or you're considering getting onboarded into a concept, when you see the list of the capabilities, one might start wondering, wow, do we really need to implement all these things to become sort of a good customer service organization or good customer operations organization? And we have been challenging, or we have been challenged by ServiceNow where really to start, where to get the starting point in order to establish something, because every single journey is dependent on the maturity of a consumer of that journey, or the stakeholder of that journey. We as humans, we need to start crawling before we can start walking, before we can start running. And here's the similar approach. We need to understand what is really the necessary bits and pieces, which would then kickstart our real sort of maturity journey, from establishing something fundamental, starting crawling, and then enabling the organization to move from all of that, oh, we do a lot of mailing, or we call each other and no one knows who the customer has talked to, or no, that was an email from 3 weeks ago which I resemble I've been seeing. No track records. Moving into a more controlled environment where you can actually be sure you know how an interaction life cycle, or how the interaction has been managed throughout the organization. So what are really the basic components that are required so that an organization can say that now we have a good baseline, we can tell that we have things in control? What do we need to get there? And how will ServiceNow map into this? So here are the 8 basic elements for basic but good customer service capability. Where do these 8 things come from? Well, this is really more assessment and good practice experience of all customers that have been ServiceNow customers, but even all organizations where they have been awarded by different awards in regards to the customer service experience, customer service delivery, customer operations delivery, or service delivery overall. So what do you need? What are those basic components? You need modern service management platform, because you need to have ability for a structured work and having the ability to know where things are in your organization. The second thing you need to know is, who is my customer? So who am I serving? If this is a customer service unit, who am I providing support as a service delivery organization or as a product delivery organization? What has customer purchased? So we need to know these things in order to be able to help them, so that we don't need to squeeze that information out of the customer, because that has an impact on the customer experience. I guess everybody has been experiencing the moments when you call and then you get sort of transferred to additional agent, and then you need to repeat the entire story all over again. And they don't know what the product is that you have purchased. So you're just repeating like a broken record. And then they say, well, I'm in the wrong team, so now I will connect you to the next one. And here's the triple repeat. So you need to have the case management, the process-wise, at least you need to have a management workflow. And you need to be able in that management workflow to manage and to measure your commitments, because as a provider, as a serious professional provider, you have to have the ability to know how good or how bad you're performing. And you need to empower your agents with means of a good user interface, user-friendly interface, And you need to give them ability so they don't need to switch tabs, switch applications, because they need access in 17 or 25 applications due to the fact that all these different bits and pieces that actually provide a product are stored into one CRM or 3 CRMs, 15 underlying operational systems. Because agents get lost, we get stalled, the experience gets impacted. The knowledge management is a crucial piece, and knowledge management is a very, very large concept. But primarily, the knowledge management is as that concept needs to be the same for customers and agents alike. They need to see the information from the similar content or the same content, but really different aspects. So popular versions to customers, while maybe more technology-based versions to agents, but they need to be able to see the same content, especially agents. They need to know what customer is seeing so that they know what they can tell the customer and where they can point it. And that then creates an ability for customers to self-help and self-service themselves due to the fact that they will get particular answers in a more popular way without having to have that interaction with an agent. So they will just contact the agent or contact the customer organization once they really need help. But of course, the key thing is that that knowledge or that content, that informational content, needs to be easy to find. It really needs to be filtered for that target group, for that customer, for that kind of role. So explicitly, you need to have the ability to push the relevant content to a relevant consumer. And where do you do that? In the customer service portal or in the customer portal or in any kind of portal where you can expose an information, give customer ability to request more services, to request more products. Because if it's easy, then the customers will be actually buying a lot easier themselves rather than, okay, now I don't know how to order this, or I don't know how to, and then immediately you create additional interaction need and the contact need towards your organization that becomes additional burden on your organization rather than having a web shop like experience where the customer can actually manage themselves. And last but not least, we always end up in the area of reporting. Why do we need reporting? Because we live on the analytics. We need to understand the performance. Why? Because we want to constantly improve. So we need to know in order to be able to improve. And these are the 8 aspects of basic but good customer service capability. So if we try to map these things into the maturity journey, some of them end being just a foundation. So modern service management platform, case management, identifying, knowing the customer, who the customer is, and reporting. And then crawling things are, okay, you can maybe live for a certain while without an intelligent agent workspace or any kind of workspace or user interface, but that will entail that you will need to solve all these clicks, switches, tab switches, and so on. Knowledge management, again, you can live without it, but most probably you will have a great impact on the volume of the calls, volume of the actual cases, which will come to your organization if you don't deliver. And then, of course, agents will have to push a lot of interactions or actions into your backend organization, which most probably they will be able to fix for themselves if they were just empowered with the relevant content. You can live without the portal for a while, but again, this is your sort of primary one-stop shop to get there and to have that experience. And then, of course, self-service, all organizations, they tend to push a lot towards a front end, towards a customer. We've been experiencing banking. We do banking business nowadays ourselves, and we actually just do it because this is the self-service thing, and it's just completely normal for us to do these things today. And then we request more services, and if we just stick to banking still, well, you need a loan. Okay, here is a product which you can order, and then you sign your digital agreements and swish you go. And these are the sort of that cruel effects of delivering a good customer experience. Seldom we actually go to a banking agent and discuss these loans. It's really complex scenarios which would lead us there. And then again, fulfillment workflow, which would feed that sort of self-service, self-request, self-delivery, and the SLAs that will enable us to track, to promise something, to see how are we delivering towards the commitments which we have made in the contracts which we signed with our customers. So where does the ServiceNow fit in this picture? So how does the ServiceNow actually enable? So modern platform, as we talked about, well, there's a ServiceNow basic system setup. If you're an existing customer, for you, this will already be there. What you really need to put in place is enabling customer service management application and the relevant plugins. Customer data is crucial. It is very crucial due to the fact that you need to know your customer and you need to know what they have purchased. All of that data exists in your organization in systems such as CRM, ERP, and it doesn't necessarily have to be integrated. It's fairly easy to get it in there, but it will empower your agent to know already when they get into that interaction, who am I speaking to, what they have purchased, what they are entitled, what I can promise them. And then if I need help, I need case management and the workflows to push these actions into my organization, which will help me and help the customer really towards an efficient resolution of their issues or to fulfilling additional services. Configurable agent workspace is a brilliant user interface which enables agents to not having to switch the tabs a lot, not needing to go into different systems. Everything is on a glance, so you can have customer 360 views very easily from actually just watching at a particular case and seeing who the customer is or who the consumer is and who are the members of that household and so on. And then we share the knowledge base in ServiceNow, a comprehensive knowledge management application which gives ability for us to share the common views, knowledge bases, and actually see the same content, discuss the same content from a different aspects, which empowers a lot of self-service, ability to self-help themselves. ServiceNow, of course, provides the self-service catalog, which is that one-stop shop. It can be very simple. So again, from foundation to crawl to walk effect, you can start by just creating simple forms. It's much more powerful than just a simple email, which is very unstructured. So you need to sort of mail back and forth just to ask what is really the issue. There are seldom customers that are really giving away all that necessary information. So creating the forms and moving up the maturity ladder towards a proper products which can be purchased through that catalog. All of that, of course, being the content of the customer service portal. And of course, that is your one-stop shop for a customer. You lead them there, because that's where you can actually enable them to do a lot of things, to help themselves, to administer certain elements of your customer data. So telling themselves to you, for example, I'm a consumer, I am a family owner and administrator, which means that I can create members of my household, and I can give ability to you to know that if someone from my family actually calls, as I am the contract owner for that family, you know who to ask for certain approvals. And this is sort of pushing, again, that responsibility towards a customer to enable you to deliver a really good customer service. And then in the end, again, we talk about reporting. Lots of built-in reports and lots of baseline reports to start with. So these are sort of the 5 elements that actually are very supported on a high level, enabling you to really jumpstart that journey in ServiceNow and get to a point where you have basic but very good service in ServiceNow. And then we jump into Value Accelerator component, which is, we've been talking about all these ServiceNow capabilities, but we as a ServiceNow partner have done our own assessment and sort of gone through a lot of engagements where we've learned the similar challenges which we have been talking about and actually trying to sort of address them. And there's always one common denominator in all these engagements. And these are the 8 elements which we've been discussing. So from there, we have sort of created what we call a value accelerator, a concept, a pre-packaged set of still out-of-the-box platform capabilities, and of course, customer service management functionalities. So we've picked up these bits and pieces from the grand library of all CSM capabilities, which you've seen on the previous slides, into the cloud people good practice, enrich them through these discussions which we have with customers with all the same questions which arise through these engagements, and bundle them into a box, into really a package that contains these necessary elements, so you can really establish a modern customer service capability. So something that really kickstart your journey, which doesn't take long, which will enable you to move from unstructured business or unstructured customer service into a connected experience. And of course, into ability for a customer to have that transparency whenever they interact with you as a service or a product provider for the services that you actually sell to them. What are these elements? So really the elements are the same as I've been just walk you through these 8 elements. What we have chosen is to really pick the pieces of the elements, pick the capabilities in ServiceNow, and then address them in the work package so they are ready-made when we encounter a new implementation. So we ask the configuration specification questions and get all these capabilities configured. So once they are done, you are ready to crawl. So for example, in basic system setup, we have all means of setting up the actual ServiceNow instance for you. If you're an existing customer, then you have already set up the platform itself. But we will, of course, install the customer service management for you with those bits and pieces that actually, with the capabilities and plugins that are a part of the package. So the groups, the users, the organizational data, the access management, which is most often the case. With single sign-on, if your organization uses one, we will enable that, because that will, of course, make life much more easier for your employees. So again, employee satisfaction increases the customer satisfaction. The customer data management, of course, a crucial piece, and there's a support for the business-to-business model and business-to-consumer model. And as I already mentioned, that data exists in your organization somewhere. We just need to bring it in, and we need to agree the way how it's brought in, integrations through the CRM or ERP, or just importing the data for using the ability of one-time imports on an occasional basis, just to make you up and running. Because this is, of course, the ability which we want to give, or you want to give your agents, in order to be able to identify the customers, who they are and what they have. Because then it will be much, much easier to be in the front seat rather than being in the back seat, where a customer needs to tell the entire story for you in order for you to be able to help them. Case management, a crucial piece, of course, because that is running the show. And it enables your workflow throughout your organization. It enables your organization to get connected. And at the same time, it enables transparency towards customer. What's happening? So what components will be built in? Of course, there will be some platform components, such as notifications, of course, because we need to notify the customer. We want to tell them that something has happened and bring them to a portal where they can see what has happened. The case flow will define the case flow, will define the categorization which are applicable for your environment, for your organization, for your business. Routing, of course, an assignment, which is a crucial thing for you to intelligently find the relevant teams and resources that can actually help your customers. Will tell you when something has happened, when a customer has been interacting with a case. So the component of really showing that to your customers. Ability to tell each other through notes, active notes, that something is wrong, or this customer needs explicit means of management, or anything which is valuable, through the sticky notes component, or the special handling notes, as it is called in ServiceNow. So, and then of course the SLAs, because we want to be able to fulfill our commitments. Agent workspace, the centralized user interface, one-stop shop for an agent to be able to see their daily work, to be able to see what they need to focus, to be able to see the customer 360 views, to be able to know everything they need to know in order to help your customer. Enable to really run these service actions which are required for your organization to help, to serve, to operate the business. And last but not least, this is configurable to fit the needs of different roles. So again, a very, very attractive interface which can enable you to run the customer service more efficiently. Knowledge management, again, the crucial piece of enabling customers to start with their own self-help, to actually enable them to find the right content which is eligible for them. So the concepts of external knowledge bases, the concept of internal knowledge bases, publishing workflow that is going to be set up according to your organizational needs. But the biggest enabler in knowledge management is that common shared content. So we actually look at the content from different perspectives and we share with each other, regardless of if it's a customer or if it's our internal organization. We consume and we empower the organization and the customer to do a lot of actions. The catalog management, which we've been talking about, that is really the creation or the creative power for, again, simple forms to start with, going towards real actionable products which we can expose and create sort of the web shop experience, the consumer-like web shop experience, which we can provide to customers. And all of that, of course, is a part of the online portal, because this is customers' one-stop shop. We want to bring customers in this digital day and age to our portal, where we can expose a lot of relevant content to them, helpful information which they can use, where they can request new services, and as I said, where they can administer themselves, company users, household members. They can give us information about the products which they've purchased, register the products, which can then help us to really provide that grand, high-class customer service based on the combined information which really we, again, in a collaboration, share between the consumer and the provider. And last but not least, the built-in reporting, which is a part of, which is delivered by ServiceNow, and where we can choose what is really eligible for your organization. Service management dashboards, service manager dashboards, agent dashboards. What are we going to expose? How can we focus on what is important for a day to day? So again, 8 elements embedded into ServiceNow components, enriched with our experience and being packaged into a value accelerator, really sort of the quick start package. So the real benefits from this is that this is for everyone that is considering getting their CSM journey started and don't really know where to start and would really like to see the value being created quite quickly. This is a pretty fine set of work packages. So we collect the information, we collect the configuration specification, and then we configure, we import the data which is necessary. And due to the fact that this is really a pre-packaged set, so this is the boundaries are set already, this is the pack you will get. We can promise you it's going to run within the 8 weeks. And as you know what you will get, there are no surprises. You can have a cost control of the package. There's no, we'll put additional pile of capabilities, because this will enable you to have a good, basic, but good customer service and run customer operations. Why? Because we want you to get you to, on that maturity journey ladder, we want you to get you into a place where you have a baseline for the future, because this baseline is common. We've heard it. It's a common denominator from all these experiences we had with our customers in all our engagements. So we know they always ask for these 8 elements. But then the next step, where to go from there, it's much more individual. So by implementing the value accelerator, you get the basic package. But from there, it is more all about your individual needs, what industry you're acting in, what are next challenges that you face in your organization. So you want to implement for it. And this is just an example, because you need to create that individual roadmap, and we can help you in doing so. So introduce new capabilities from all that comprehensive library that ServiceNow provides, going into case types, especially if you work with invoicing, complaints, claims. So have particular case types, which will enable you to have explicit attributes for cases. Going into more intelligent assignments, especially if you work with provisioning of services with, for example, IT, going into major case management. Analytics is the next step, being really that enabler of trending and understanding what is to come, towards being more proactive, going machine learning, letting machines classify and automate settings for you, or going into playbooks, introducing virtual agents instead of live chats and things like that, towards being able to fly when you get into that process and workforce optimization, when you've done all the things and you just want to shine, brilliantly shine. So again, to summarize, the Value Accelerator is your baseline package. Get quick started, get real value fast, start working, start understanding which additional capabilities will actually help you to climb the maturity ladder.
Thanks, Lennart. So we just have a few moments for the Q&A. Feel free to chime in with that. If not, I can see that we are almost on the hour here. So if you have to jump to the next meeting, that is perfectly fine. You can drop your questions in the questions bar. You can drop it in the chat. Yeah, let me just briefly showcase the upcoming event. We have the process optimization webinar coming up at Flores and ServiceNow Dan Grady. It's the 23rd of February. You're more than welcome to check that out on our website. And also we have a rather interesting session with a professor from Aarhus University, Annabeth Auger, around the digital strategy maturity journey. That will be on the 8th of March. But you can check all that out on our website. And I also would like to say thank you very much for attending, and we really hope you gained something from it. We'll be hanging around just a few minutes to take a question or two if anything arises, and if not, we wish you a really good day. Thank you very much to you as well, and it was a pleasure hosting you today.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for joining.